Hi girls, I want to walk you through a problem from exercise 11C.2, okay? Um, let's read the problem, then we're going to go over an example problem and then apply that process to this problem. So my uncle buys a section of land for $150 in November of 1944. He then sells it for $350,000 in November of 2007. What is the annual rate of increase for his investment? All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to use this formula, right? This is the formula for a fixed rate, right? A fixed annual interest rate, because that's in essence what we're looking at. We have an initial value, we have a final value, we have a period of time, so we can figure out how many years that is. Make sense? So in order to know how to set this up and also how to solve it, I'm going to show you this example problem from your textbook, and I'm also going to work it out on the calculator here for you. All right? So, similar concept. A guy buys something, keeps it a certain amount of time, sells it for something. Got that? So, our previous value, our present value rather, is the initial here. N is our 4 years, and F is our 7,300, which is what he sells it for. That's the future value. And we did just plug these into the formula that we know, right? What I want you to notice is that on this problem here, if we're trying to solve for I, one of the first things we'll do is divide both sides by 4,600, like down here. See that? When you get to this place, though, you have the problem of having to fourth root in order to clear out and have I be solvable from there, right? A fourth root. But that's our challenge here, because if we fourth root on your calculator, or more importantly, if we try to fourth root on your Good Grapher calculator, notice that here, right, we have a square root. And if we press the second function key, oopsie, wrong thing. I've got two hands doing two different things. Delete. Clear all, yes. Second function key, I get a cube root option down here, right? So I can cube root something. I can cube root 27 as an example, but there's no fourth root option either within the regular here or within the second functions. So we need to solve this in a different way, but we can still use this calculator to do so. And what we're going to do is we're going to use the 3D calculator, the 2D calculator under your settings, okay? And let me show you mathematically over here how, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to take, and let me draw on this for you, all right? We're going to take this part of the equation and this part of the equation and make two equations into them, okay? And y equals, all right? So we're going to set this up as two different equation lines. Y equals parenthesis 1 plus I to the power 4. And y equals 7,300 over 4,600. All right? So what this means is we're going to solve this graphically. All right? We're going to use our 2D grapher. All right? We're going to come on in here. Wow, I've got some fun things going on here. And we're going to add an equation. So y of x equals, and we're going to put in this first 1 plus I to the power of 4. Okay? So 1. And then we're going to use x instead of I, right? And remember, the power of button is this over here, right? Power of 4. And save that. And you'll notice, I'm going to play with this a little bit until I can see it kind of well. There's my shape of my graph, okay? I'm going to put now in the other side of the equation as its own equation, y of x equals, and now I'm going to put in 7,300 divided by 4,600. And save that. Ooh. And what I need to find is the intersection. And I can look for the intersections visually, but remember, what's awesome about, once you have enough to just see it, what's awesome about this calculator is if you press right up here, right, you'll get the intersections here and here, right? And if you actually press on that intersection, you will see your x values here, and on this one, the x value here. Do you see that? Now, you might be like, well, that's two answers. Which one do I want, right? Well, I want, look over here at this answer, and notice for a second, okay? When you put this in, we've taken out the factoring of the 1. So what we're doing is we're coming down here and looking for this. So which point? Is it my left point, my point in the negative in quadrant 2, or is it this one in quadrant 1 that corresponds, where the x value here corresponds? You see how it's the, oops, it's the one in the positive row, right? We need a positive number. So that takes us to right here. This is a decimal. And notice how this answer is asking for, like, what's the percent, right? Rates happen in percents. So the way we get from here to here is you move your decimal 2 places, right? 1, 2 over to 12.238. Got it? But in case that was still a little too quick for you, we're going to do this other problem together, all right? So we're back to my uncle, your uncle, and his land. So what we need to do is identify what these different values are, right? And we need to be able to say, hey, you know, it's going to be which one's the present, which is the future, etc. So I've got present initial value, future value, and to calculate the number of years, obviously I need to do some math with that a little bit, right? And I'm going to come up with this. Does that make sense? Take a look and be sure. 2007 minus 1944 is 63 years. Quite a long time this uncle had the land. Explains why there was such an increase in value, right? And I, remember using this formula, right? We're going to keep I, or we can use X when we're using our calculator. That's the variable. That's what we're solving for. Cool? So now I need to plug this into my equation, right? So here's the equation, plug it with it plugged in. Oops, wrong thing. Haha. Okay. I don't have it. I did the kind of math on this already first, but that's okay. Ignore the divided by 150s, right? If you look just at this part, woohoo, it's not working. You're with me. If you look just at the top line here, future value is $350,000 equals present value, the initial value of $150, parenthesis 1 plus I, right? We're working off of this down here, to the power of 63 years, right? I already showed you the next step with this, dividing both sides by 150, right? And that's what gets us to here, where we have, this looks rather similar, right? You've got 1 plus I to a power, and you've got a fraction. If you look at the previous problem, right? 1 plus I to a power and a fraction. That we turned into 2 equations. So let's go back. I'm going to turn this into 2 equations, right? I'm going to put in a y equals, and that's going to be like, you could say that's a y1, right? The first line. And on this one, we could call it a y2 equals this part. Now let's get that into our calculator, okay? So if you remember how we hide the ones from before is just do that. And we're going to add some new ones. So y of x equals, let's put in 350,000, one more, divided by 150. Voila. Ha! Where is it? Where is it? Ah, there it is. Okay, good. You got to be able to see it, right? Let's add our other one. And it doesn't matter which side you put in first, right? Okay. Parenthesis 1 plus, I'm using x for my I, and power of, yes, it's a big number, 63. Ooh, look at that. And remember, you can toggle on your intersection thing. And we have 1 point of intersection. And what do you notice about that number? What is the value of that point of intersection? It is 0.13. I'm using a mouse to write, so it's kind of slow. Sorry. Oops. 0, 9, 9, etc. Right? Again, we're going to go back to the previous problem. When we got this, it was a, starts with D, decimal, right? This we need to turn in, and we need to turn it into a percent for our answer. So to turn this into a percent, twice to the right, right? And our answer is 13, again, 0.09993, etc. And then based on your instructions from me or your teacher or from the problem, you will decide how many significant figures or decimal places you take it to. But don't forget, this is now a percent. So you are prepared now to do 11C.2. I think numbers 7 and 9 are a lot like this, okay?
Check it over, bring questions to class.